Welcome to our exploration of how basic and clinical research are connected. In the world of science and medicine, discoveries made in the laboratory often pave the way for new treatments and therapies in the clinic. But how exactly does this process work? Today, we'll take a closer look at the journey from basic scientific findings to real-world medical applications. We'll see how researchers collaborate, share knowledge, and overcome challenges to ensure that breakthroughs in the lab can ultimately benefit patients. Let's begin by understanding what basic and clinical research actually mean and why bridging the gap between them is so important for advancing healthcare. Basic research, sometimes called fundamental or bench research, is all about uncovering the underlying principles of biology, chemistry, and medicine. Scientists in this field focus on understanding how cells work, how genes are regulated, and how diseases develop at the molecular level. This type of research is often curiosity-driven, aiming to answer big questions without immediate concern for practical application. However, the knowledge gained here forms the foundation for future innovations. Without basic research, many of the medical advances we rely on today would not exist. Next, let's see how clinical research builds on these discoveries. Clinical research, on the other hand, is conducted with real patients and volunteers. Its main goal is to test new treatments, drugs, or medical devices to ensure they are safe and effective. Clinical trials are a key part of this process, often involving several phases before a therapy is approved for widespread use. Researchers collect data on how patients respond, monitor for side effects, and compare new approaches to existing standards of care. Clinical research translates the findings from basic science into practical solutions that can improve health outcomes. Now, let's explore why bridging these two areas is crucial. Bridging basic and clinical research is essential for turning scientific discoveries into tangible health benefits. Without a strong connection between these fields, promising ideas might never make it out of the lab. By fostering collaboration, sharing resources, and encouraging open communication, researchers can accelerate the development of new therapies. This bridge ensures that insights from basic science are tested and refined in clinical settings, ultimately leading to better treatments and improved patient care. In the next scene, we'll look at how this bridging process actually happens in practice. Translational research is the term used to describe efforts that move discoveries from the laboratory to the clinic. It acts as a bridge, taking basic science findings and developing them into new diagnostics, treatments, or preventive measures. This process often involves multidisciplinary teams including biologists, clinicians, engineers, and data analysts all working together. Translational research is sometimes called bench to bedside because it aims to deliver real benefits to patients as quickly and safely as possible. Let's dive deeper into the steps involved in this process. First step in bridging basic and clinical research is the discovery phase. Here, scientists conduct experiments to uncover new biological mechanisms or identify potential drug targets. This stage is often marked by creativity, trial and error, and a deep curiosity about how living systems work. The findings from this phase provide the raw material for future development. Once a promising discovery is made, researchers begin to think about how it might be applied to solve real-world health problems. Next, let's see how these discoveries are validated. After a discovery is made, preclinical studies are conducted to test its potential. These studies often use cell cultures or animal models to evaluate safety and effectiveness before moving to human trials. Researchers look for any signs of toxicity, side effects, or unexpected outcomes. Preclinical research is a critical checkpoint, ensuring that only the most promising and safe candidates move forward. This step helps minimize risks when the research eventually reaches patient. Now let's move on to the next phase, clinical trials. As preclinical studies show positive results, the research moves into clinical trials. These trials are carefully designed and regulated, starting with small groups of healthy volunteers or patients. The goal is to assess safety, determine appropriate dosages, and begin evaluating effectiveness. Clinical trials are conducted in phases, each with specific objectives and increasing numbers of participants. This rigorous process helps ensure that new treatments are both safe and beneficial. Let's take a closer look at the different phases of clinical trials. Clinical trials are typically divided into 4 phases. Phase I focuses on safety and dosage in a small group. Phase II expands to more participants to further assess effectiveness and monitor side effects. Phase III involves large-scale testing to confirm results and compare with standard treatments. Finally, Phase IV takes place after approval, monitoring long-term effects in the general population. Each phase is essential for gathering the evidence needed to bring a new therapy to market. Next, let's discuss the role of regulatory agencies in this process. Regulatory agencies, such as the FDA in the United States or EMA in Europe, play a crucial role in bridging basic and clinical research. They review data from preclinical and clinical studies to ensure that new treatments meet strict safety and efficacy standards. These agencies provide guidelines for conducting research, protect patient rights, and monitor for adverse events. Their oversight is vital for maintaining public trust and ensuring that only safe, effective therapies reach the market. Now, let's see how collaboration enhances the bridging process. Bridging basic and clinical research requires collaboration among scientists, clinicians, engineers, and even patients. Each group brings unique expertise and perspectives, helping to solve complex problems more effectively. Multidisciplinary teams can identify challenges early, design better studies, and translate discoveries more efficiently. Collaboration also fosters innovation, as ideas from different fields combine in creative ways. In the next scene, we'll look at how technology supports this collaborative process. Technology plays a pivotal role in bridging basic and clinical research. Advanced tools like high-throughput sequencing, bioinformatics, and electronic health records enable researchers to analyze vast amounts of data quickly and accurately. These technologies help identify patterns, predict outcomes, and personalize treatments for individual patients. Digital platforms also make it easier for teams to share information and coordinate efforts across different locations. Let's see how data sharing accelerates the translation of research. Open science and data sharing are transforming the way research is conducted. By making data and results publicly available, scientists can build on each other's work, avoid duplication, and accelerate progress. Open access journals, data repositories, and collaborative networks all contribute to a more transparent and efficient research ecosystem. This openness is especially important when bridging basic and clinical research, as it ensures that valuable insights are not lost or overlooked. Next, let's discuss the challenges that can arise in this process. Despite the many benefits, bridging basic and clinical research is not without challenges. Differences in language, priorities, and timelines can create barriers between scientists and clinicians. Funding constraints, regulatory hurdles, and the complexity of translating findings into therapies also pose significant obstacles. Overcoming these challenges requires strong leadership, clear communication, and a commitment to shared goals. In the following scenes, we'll explore some strategies for overcoming these barriers. Effective communication is key to bridging the gap between basic and clinical research. Regular meetings, interdisciplinary conferences, and collaborative platforms help researchers stay informed and aligned. By sharing updates, discussing challenges, and celebrating successes, teams can build trust and maintain momentum. Communication also helps ensure that everyone understands the goals and requirements of each stage in the research process. Let's look at how education supports this effort. Education and training programs are vital for preparing researchers to work across disciplines. Workshops, courses, and mentorship opportunities help scientists and clinicians understand each other's perspectives and develop new skills. Training in areas like regulatory affairs, data analysis, and patient engagement can make the bridging process smoother and more effective. Investing in education ensures that the next generation of researchers is equipped to tackle complex health challenges. Now let's see how patient involvement enhances research. Patients play an increasingly important role in bridging basic and clinical research. By participating in clinical trials, sharing their experiences, and providing feedback, patients help shape research priorities and study designs. Patient advocacy groups also raise awareness, support funding, and promote the translation of discoveries into therapies. Involving patients ensures that research remains focused on real-world needs and outcomes. Next, let's look at how funding supports the bridging process. Securing funding is a major challenge in bridging basic and clinical research. Grants from government agencies, foundations, and industry partners are essential for supporting each stage of the process. Funding enables researchers to conduct experiments, hire staff, purchase equipment, and run clinical trials. Innovative funding models such as public-private partnerships and crowdfunding are also emerging. Adequate financial support ensures that promising discoveries can move forward and reach patients. Let's explore the role of academic institutions in this ecosystem. Universities and research institutes are at the heart of bridging basic and clinical research. They provide the infrastructure, resources, and expertise needed to conduct high-quality studies. Academic institutions often foster collaborations between departments, host training programs, and support technology transfer offices that help move discoveries to market. By promoting a culture of innovation and collaboration, these organizations play a key role in advancing healthcare. Now let's see how industry partners contribute. Industry partners, such as pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, are essential for translating research into products. They bring expertise in drug development, manufacturing, and regulatory affairs, as well as the resources needed for large-scale clinical trials. Collaborations between academia and industry can speed up the development and approval of new therapies. These partnerships also help ensure that research addresses real-world needs and can be scaled for widespread use. Let's look at how government agencies support this process. Government agencies play a vital role in bridging basic and clinical research. They provide funding, set research priorities, and establish regulations to protect public health. Agencies like the National Institutes of Health (NIH) and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) support large-scale research initiatives and public-private partnerships. Their involvement ensures that research aligns with national health goals and addresses pressing medical challenges. Next, let's explore the impact of international collaboration. Health challenges often cross borders, making international collaboration essential for bridging research. Global partnerships allow scientists to share data, resources, and expertise, accelerating progress on diseases that affect people worldwide. Organizations like the World Health Organization (WHO) coordinate efforts to address pandemics, rare diseases, and other global health threats. By working together, countries can pool knowledge and tackle challenges that no single nation could solve alone. Let's see how ethics guide this collaborative work. Ethical considerations are central to bridging basic and clinical research. Researchers must ensure that studies are conducted with integrity, respect for participants, and transparency. Informed consent, privacy protections, and fair treatment are essential for maintaining public trust. Ethics committees and institutional review boards review study protocols to safeguard participants' rights and well-being. By upholding high ethical standards, researchers can advance science while protecting individuals and communities. Next, let's look at how success is measured in bridging research. Success in bridging basic and clinical research is measured by the impact on patient health and well-being. Key indicators include the number of new therapies developed, improvements in disease outcomes, and the speed at which discoveries reach the clinic. Other measures include publications, patents, and collaborations formed. Ultimately, the goal is to translate scientific knowledge into real-world benefits for individuals and communities. Let's explore some examples of successful bridging. Answer Research offers a powerful example of bridging basic and clinical research. Discoveries about genetic mutations and cellular pathways in the lab have led to targeted therapies and immunotherapies that are now saving lives. Clinical trials test these new treatments, refine their use, and identify which patients will benefit most. Collaboration between scientists, clinicians, and patients has accelerated progress, turning once fatal diagnoses into manageable condition. Next, let's look at another example in infectious diseases. Fight against infectious diseases, such as HIV/AIDS and COVID-19, highlights the importance of bridging research. Basic science revealed how viruses infect cells, while clinical research developed vaccines and antiviral drugs. Rapid data sharing and global collaboration enabled scientists to respond quickly to emerging threats. These efforts have saved millions of lives and demonstrated the power of translating lab discoveries into public health solutions. Let's see how rare diseases benefit from this approach. Rare diseases often lack effective treatments, making the bridge between basic and clinical research especially important. Scientists study the genetic and molecular causes of these conditions, while clinical researchers design trials for small patient populations. Patient advocacy groups play a crucial role in funding research and connecting families with clinical studies. Success stories such as gene therapies for inherited disorders show how bridging research can bring hope to those with limited options. Next, let's discuss the future of bridging research. Future of bridging basic and clinical research is bright, thanks to advances in technology, data science, and global collaboration. Personalized medicine, artificial intelligence, and gene editing are opening new frontiers in healthcare. Researchers are increasingly working together across disciplines and borders to tackle complex health challenges. As we look ahead, continued investment in research, education, and collaboration will be essential for translating discoveries into better health for all. Let's see how you can get involved. There are many ways to support the bridge between basic and clinical research. You can participate in clinical trials, donate to research organizations, or advocate for science funding. Staying informed about scientific advances and sharing knowledge with your community also makes a difference. Whether you're a student, healthcare professional, or simply curious, your involvement helps drive progress and ensures that research continues to improve lives. Now, let's summarize what we've learned. Let's recap the key points from our journey. Bridging basic and clinical research is essential for turning scientific discoveries into real-world health solutions. This process involves collaboration, communication, and a commitment to ethical standards. Challenges exist, but with the right strategies and support, researchers can overcome them and deliver new therapies to patients. By working together, we can accelerate progress and improve health outcomes for people everywhere. In the next scenes, we'll answer some common questions about bridging research. Translational research is the process of turning basic scientific discoveries into practical applications, such as new drugs, diagnostics, or medical devices. It bridges the gap between the laboratory and the clinic, ensuring that advances in science lead to real benefits for patients. This field requires collaboration among scientists, clinicians, and industry partners to move ideas from concept to reality. Bridging basic and clinical research is important because it accelerates the development of new treatments and improves patient care. Without this connection, scientific discoveries might remain theoretical and never reach those who need them most. Bridging ensures that research is relevant, effective, and responsive to real-world health challenges. Everyone benefits from bridging basic and clinical research. Patients gain access to new therapies, healthcare providers receive better tools and knowledge, and society as a whole enjoys improved health outcomes. Researchers also benefit by seeing their discoveries make a real difference in people's lives. Main challenges in bridging research include communication barriers, funding limitations, regulatory requirements, and the complexity of translating discoveries into therapies. Overcoming these obstacles requires teamwork, innovation, and ongoing support from all stakeholders involved in the research process. The process of bridging basic and clinical research can take many years, sometimes even decades. Each stage, from discovery to clinical trials and regulatory approval, requires careful planning, testing, and evaluation. Patience and persistence are essential for bringing new therapies to patients safely and effectively. Patients play a vital role in bridging research by participating in clinical trials, sharing their experiences, and advocating for research funding. Their involvement helps ensure that studies address real needs and that new therapies are safe and effective. Patient voices are increasingly shaping the direction of research. To learn more about bridging basic and clinical research, you can explore resources from universities, government agencies, and patient advocacy groups. Many organizations offer educational materials, webinars, and opportunities to get involved. Staying informed helps you understand the importance of research and how it impacts health. Personalized medicine is an approach that tailors treatments to individual patients based on their genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors. Bridging basic and clinical research is essential for developing personalized therapies as it combines insights from the lab with real-world patient data. This approach promises more effective and targeted treatments. A clinical trial is a research study that tests new treatments, drugs, or medical devices in people. Clinical trials are essential for determining whether new therapies are safe and effective. They are a key part of bridging basic and clinical research, moving discoveries from the lab to the clinic. Open science is a movement that promotes sharing data, methods, and results openly with the scientific community and the public. This approach accelerates progress by making it easier for researchers to build on each other's work. Open science is especially important for bridging basic and clinical research, as it fosters collaboration and transparency. Regulatory agency is an organization that oversees the safety and effectiveness of new treatments, drugs, and medical devices. Agencies like the FDA or EMA review data from research studies, set standards, and approve therapies for public use. Their role is crucial in ensuring that only safe and effective treatments reach patients. Preclinical study is research conducted before testing in humans. It usually involves laboratory experiments and animal models to evaluate the safety and potential effectiveness of a new therapy. Preclinical studies are a critical step in bridging basic and clinical research, ensuring that only the safest and most promising candidates move forward. Data repository is a secure platform where researchers store and share scientific data. These repositories make it easier to access and analyze information, promoting collaboration and transparency. Data repositories are especially valuable for bridging basic and clinical research, as they help scientists build on existing knowledge. Technology transfer is the process of moving scientific discoveries from research institutions to industry, where they can be developed into products or therapies. Offices dedicated to technology transfer help researchers patent their inventions, license technologies, and form partnerships with companies. This process is key to bridging basic and clinical research. Bridging basic and clinical research is a dynamic, collaborative process that transforms scientific discoveries into real-world health solutions. By fostering communication, collaboration, and innovation, we can overcome challenges and accelerate progress. The future of healthcare depends on our ability to connect the lab and the clinic, ensuring that every breakthrough has the potential to improve lives. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of bridging research.